Very excited to catch up with our friend, Mr. Mike Jones from The Athletic. Jonesy joining us right now, assuming I can get this computer to work. Mike, what up, man? How are you, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great, man. Bye week for Washington, bye week for Baltimore. Weird that there's, I think, 6 teams had their bye this late in the season, but some really, really good football this weekend. Let's start with last night, Kansas City. I think
People think they're not good, Mike.
Overly simplistic to try to dismiss their success.
I mean, look, they just get it done. It might not be pretty, and we try to say, oh, they're not as good as they were because we don't see them dominating teams. But their formula is now keep it close while leaning heavily on your defense, and then put the ball in Mahomes' hands with, a little bit of time left, and he's going to make something happen. And the football gods keep smiling on them because, you can't say that was scripted last night. The doink into the thing,
Right.
like that wasn't scripted. That was just football gods smiling down because week after week, they keep finding a different way to win.
Yep.
And, there's a 15 straight one-score victories. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
But, you look at the fact, like, we had got so accustomed to them scoring 30, 40 points. And because today everybody just think about offense. It just shows you how damn good their defense is, that they keep their guy, Pat Mahomes, close in games, knowing if he gets it last, the other team's in trouble.
Right, exactly. And it also is a testament because remember, before, if they didn't score 40 points a game, they were really in trouble and might have a hard time winning because the defense couldn't stop anybody. But they found a way to retool and change the image of this team, although it's still very much Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid centric, but they now have a really good defense. And that's just, you're going to have a real tough time scoring on them. And then you really better hope that you have the ball last, because if you don't, then your chances of winning, I mean, you saw Justin Herbert's face as he stood on the sideline. It was just like, he knew he wasn't going to get the ball back. And then when Mahomes had the one where he avoided the pass rush and then hit
the
Kelce,
third down, it was unbelievable.
I don't even understand how Travis Kelce, how many years is this now? How is that dude always wide open? How do you not have somebody just shadow him everywhere he goes? There's nobody within 5 yards of him, and he catches the money catch for that play. And Justin Herbert's face was just like, yep.
It takes me back to the game when they played against Tampa, and they flipped the coin, and Kansas City won, and Baker went, oh.
In overtime, And I thought Tirico and Collinsworth did a really good job last night of saying, like, with 4.5 minutes left, they're like, when you look at this clock, I'm not sure that Herbert's getting the ball back.
Right.
We're talking with our friend Mike Jones. You can follow him on X and Instagram at @ByMikeJones. Blue Sky, too, at @ByMikeJones. Another LA team. Now, I do think the Chargers were pretty impressive, but just not enough to beat the Chiefs. Another LA team yesterday might have had the win of the day.
Yes.
The Rams looked damn good in a win over Buffalo. A lot of points. No team had ever scored 6 touchdowns and not turned it over and lost. Buffalo did that yesterday. What do you make of that Rams team right now?
Well, I wonder what we would have seen from this team had they not been for the early season injuries. Remember, they had a lot of injuries out of the gates. Their offensive line was banged up. Cooper Kupp got hurt. Puka got hurt. They had just injuries all over the place, and that really put them in a hole. I think that this is what they could have been. And look, Seattle has got a nice, seems like they've got a good lead in that division. Now, I think it's actually like a 1-game lead there. But the Rams, they have an opportunity here to finish really strong down the stretch. I don't know if you really want to face them. If they can get into the playoffs, they'll have some momentum and they're healthy. And like Puka just makes some catches that are jaw dropping. And, their run game is working. They can do anything they need to. And to look, everybody says, oh, the Buffalo's defense is bad. Well, Buffalo's defense has been pretty good this year. They're holding teams to 18 points a game. They were, I think, third in the league in takeaways, like 24, 25 takeaways. So this is a good defense, but they just caught the Rams on a really hot day, or the Rams have gotten things all pulled together, and they are going to be scary down the stretch. It's going to be interesting because now Buffalo, that loss is really painful for them because it basically is the difference from maybe being able to host the AFC Championship game or having to go to Kansas City. And so now, having lost that thing is going to sting for a while.
But looking at, I mean, this did the Rams give people the recipe of how to attack them?
Yeah, put up 50.
No, but I'm saying it's everything they kept.
You got a block punt. You know, I mean, like,
but
it was all kind of crazy.
They were running straight at them.
Right.
They wouldn't try to run to the edges like most people do, and they got too much speed to do that. They ran at them. They made pass rushes become run stoppers, and most pass rushes they don't want to be wrestling all day with those big boys. They want to have the big boys going backpedal.
They kept them on their heels. They won in the trenches. And then, obviously they have those two wide receivers that can always get open when you need them to. It's just a really good recipe for them. If they're healthy, they're well-rounded, they're well-constructed. And, I mean, if you can score that many points on a really hot team like Buffalo, which can score with the best of them, then your chances are pretty good.
All right, Jonesy, there's a team we don't talk about enough. Both sides of this. The NFC South is kind of a slugfest in the wrong way. You know him. Like, we were all there once upon a time. What do you think's up with Kirk? He's just throwing picks, dude.
Man, I mean, 3 straight games now. Okay, so he came into that game with 6 interceptions in 2 games and no touchdown passes. Now he threw 2 more interceptions, no more touchdown passes. That's 8 interceptions, no touchdown passes, and I think they've lost 4 straight now. They gave him $180 million. He was supposed to be the guy that they had a good defense, they had weapons on offense, and he was going to elevate them. Well, I don't know. Look, his mobility is not as good, which is understandable being that you are late in your 30s and you're coming off an Achilles. But the decision-making is the thing that I just don't understand. He's really forcing throws and making decisions that you're just kind of like, dude, why? What are you doing? Because he normally was a guy who takes what the defense gives him.
Right.
And I don't know if he just got in the habit of thinking, oh, Justin Jefferson's going to go get it. Let me just throw it up there, and somehow he's going to magically do it. Well, that guy's not there. Drake London's not that guy. Kyle Pitts is not a X factor in the NFL at all, even though he was supposed to be a really talented tight end. They got John Robinson, but this is really not looking good for them, and looks like they're going to mess around and wind up losing that division to Tampa Bay, which is really got some good momentum going now.
Does it seem like what people wanted Kirk to do when he was young, he's trying to do now? He never took chances early. Now he's trying to take the chances. I really believe that Penix Jr. is in his head. Just like he was in Robert's head, Penix is in his head, because he see all these other quarterbacks with these big games, taking chances. He's trying to live up to that because they drafted a guy.
Career high interceptions this season, 15.
Yeah,
he's got 4 games played.
Totally uncharacteristic. I think the pressure of, which you would think like, okay, look, you've been in a situation before, but when he went to Minnesota, the expectations, they were hoping he was going to be good, but he's coming to Atlanta. They're saying like, oh man, we should be able to win our division now because of you. And he's supposed to elevate the team, and he's forcing things. He's like just really putting the ball in spots that you would expect a veteran quarterback would not do. And so I don't know how you fix that unless you just really dial up a heavy dose of the run game. And look, we're only going play action, when we have to and see. But I don't know if people have asked, like, should they go to Penix Jr.? I don't know if he's ready yet. We don't get to see him in practices. So is that kid going to be ready to help lead this team on a playoff charge? Maybe throwing him in there will throw a couple other wrinkles that a defense wasn't ready for, but he's going to be inexperienced. And so Kirk's really got to settle down, stop forcing things, be smarter with the football. And otherwise their season's over because this is not at all what they thought they were getting from him.
That deal that he got, what's guaranteed?
Still money next year.
Yeah, he's got money next year, right?
And then that's it?
If they want to get out of that next year, it's a $65 million dead money hit.
Wow. Right, yes. Yeah. So I think that the last 2 years of it are the ones that aren't guaranteed.
Yeah, 26 and 27 are kind of funny money.
I know I talked to some people from Atlanta, and they have completely turned on him, dog.
Dude, I talked to people in Atlanta during camp, and apparently, now granted, this is 4 months ago or whatever, but Penix looked great then. Jonesy, I wanted to ask you one last one quickly if I can. When do we take Darnold for real? Darnold is balling.
He is definitely balling. And they're going to have
He's trying to prove Landfill wrong.
Yeah. I think what they're going to have to wind up doing is they're probably going to have to wind up franchising him, because you don't know what J.J. McCarthy is going to be coming off of injury, but you can't afford to let this guy – he's playing like a top 10 quarterback right now. Some people might even argue that he's playing at MVP level.
Oh, boy.
I mean, I'm not saying he is the MVP, but he's playing at that kind of level. I mean, they're going to wind up being like 14-3. I think they're the third best team in the NFC behind Detroit and Philly. They have a defense that can really give you trouble, and they have instant fireworks on offense with Justin Jefferson. He had that one little rough patch earlier in the middle of the season where you're like, oh, is he starting to turn back to Sam Darnold? But he worked his way out of it, and, they're balling. He is, finally, it just goes to show you, you cannot blame the quarterback entirely when a young guy is struggling. What does he have around him? How is he being managed? That's why don't rush. I was talking to a guy who's an assistant GM who's expecting to interview for jobs this winter. He was saying, if I'm drafting a quarterback, I'm sitting him. I'm giving him time to learn. The thing that has killed so many careers is rushing these guys out there and putting too much on them. And we're seeing now when the guy has had some time to really get seasoned and learn, he can still salvage his career. So it's pretty amazing. Yesterday definitely made sure the Vikings didn't miss Kirk Cousins with that performance.
For sure. Hey, Mike, if we don't get to talk to you, Merry Christmas, brother. Thanks for making time.
Appreciate you, Mike.
Hey, thanks. Good talk to you guys.